There has been some transition in the Chinese thinking process. Initially, in 1960, they considered south of McMahon Line as part of India. Some sense should prevail in the Foreign Ministry of China in regard to such incidents.
There are many aspects to it. One is that obviously the Chinese government has issued instructions. In fact, they say that Tibet has 5 fingers. Arunachal Pradesh is only one. Sikkim and all that. Let me not go into it. That is their traditional claim, which at times they hold even now.
There has been some transition in the Chinese thinking process. Initially, in 1960, they considered south of McMahon Line as part of India. If India recognizes Aksai Chin as part of China, this is what Premier Zhou Enlai mentioned in 1960 during his visit to New Delhi. In 2005, the Chinese ambassador to Delhi, Mr. Sun Yushi, told the Indian news channels that the whole of territory that you call as Arunachal Pradesh is a disputed territory. So there has been a shift from the south of McMahon Line, that is Arunachal Pradesh. NIFA used to be called Northeast Frontier Agency. Now they expanded that to the whole of Arunachal Pradesh as a disputed territory. In 2007, an IAS officer delegation has not been given their visas when they want to travel from India to China. Every year there is the IAS officers delegation go to China, and that year it was because one of the members of that delegation hailed from Arunachal Pradesh. Then there was one group captain Mohanto who also hailed from Arunachal Pradesh, and there was an Indian military delegation which was supposed to go, and so he was denied visa, and the whole delegation has been cancelled to visit China. 2010, there was the Chinese staple visas given to the Kashmir residents. But India stuck to its ground that this is instrument of accession was signed by the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir in 1947, and so there is no provision for China to issue those staple visas. So we have had these things happening over a long period of time, and these have now resurfaced recently, with China renaming places in Arunachal Pradesh 4 times so far. And there is the Chinese in 2003, they mentioned Arunachal Pradesh as southern Tibet, meaning that Tibet is part of China and southern Tibet is part of Tibet and Tibet is part of China. So a long logical argument that they try to put across in this domain. So Indian leaders have visited Arunachal Pradesh. Indian members of parliament are elected from that region. Many have become ministers, union ministers, like Mr. Kiran Rijiju, and there is also the Chinese argument about this. When Indian president visited Arunachal Pradesh, Indian Prime Minister and also the Dalai Lama, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, visited Arunachal Pradesh. And he was showing the TV crew this area that Tawang is belonging to India. So there has been a concerted move to criticize the Chinese position on what they are doing in terms of interference in the internal affairs of India. Now, how do we resolve this? The issue on the lady who was stopped in Shanghai and the other. I think the Indian position has been a little bit quiet in this regard because China is making a lot of noises in disregard to its own positions before, as I mentioned, the 1960 Zhou Enlai position. So one is to expedite the territorial dispute resolution talks. For the past 37 years, we have been discussing, and even though Foreign Minister Wang Yi came to Delhi in August this year, and an early harvest discussion has been proposed, but there has not been much preparation from the Chinese side in that regard. So one is to resolve the territorial dispute and resolve these issues. Second is to have an understanding that regardless of the dispute and the outcome of the negotiations, such things should not happen that inconveniences the general public. That is one way of addressing this. But here is China is not listening to any one of these suggestions. So I think some sense should prevail in the Foreign Ministry of China in regard to such incidents.
What we have to understand is that there are many aspects to it. One is that obviously the Chinese government has issued instructions to the consular wings at airports that anyone holding Arunachal passport showing place of birth in Arunachal should be treated in a different way, because China officially holds that Arunachal Pradesh is South Tibet. In fact, they say that Tibet has 5 fingers. Arunachal Pradesh is only one. Sikkim and all that. Let me not go into it. That is their traditional claim, which at times they hold even now. At times. So that is that. And second thing is that the Chinese, we protested, and I'm glad we protested with clarity and strength. Both are important. And the Chinese have claimed that she was treated with all courtesy and respect, given food and all that. But then she has stated that that was not the case. And of course I was not there, but I'm inclined to believe her, because she's a qualified young person. She's unlikely to fabricate a story. So the fact is, A, Chinese have given such instructions, B, that the treatment was bad. What the lesson we have to learn is that while we should pursue the thaw in relations between India and China, now on, after the meeting between the two leaders last year, October. So we should continue that. But we should bear in mind that Chinese territorial claims on India are unlikely to be withdrawn. And that, as President Reagan said, trust but verify.